This week on Motorhead Garage, Brian and John go head-to-head in an electric mini bike race.
Lowen, you're nowhere to be found, brother. What's the deal? Come on. Come on, come on.
But before that, we learn about brake lathes, upgrade some sounds, and make better engine attachments. Next on Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting.
Woohoo! Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. Well, folks, we got a great show in store for you today, and why not start with something that everybody can relate to, and that's pedal pulsation. What is pedal pulsation? Well, you push the brake pedal and bam, it's kicking back at your feet. Well, what happens? Well, you take it to some guy like me at a shop, takes the rotor off, puts it on a brake lathe on a table, turns it, brings it back. Pulsation's either still there or it'll come back in 9,000 miles. Well, not anymore. I got Bruce with us from ProCut. Bruce, you guys are going to take care of that pedal pulsation, but more importantly, you got a whole system for cutting rotors the right way. Tell us about it.
Well, thanks for having us, John. Yeah, this is the ProCut X9. In a nutshell, this machine just bolts right up to the vehicle. It's super simple and easy to use. Techs love it because it's fast. You know, it takes about 7 to 9 minutes to cut a rotor, and the process is actually very simple. First step, we're going to put a wheel adapter on in place of the tire. That's what the machine's going to bolt up to. As you can see, we've already done that step here, so it's all set, ready to go. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to turn the machine on, and this is where the rubber really hits the road. We've got to compensate the machine to any imperfections that exist in the wheel bearing. So we have a computer on board that actually has a sensor in it that's measuring the lateral movement of the machine relative to the hub axis of the vehicle or wheel bearing. The clicking you're hearing is the lathe actually realigning itself so that when we actually go to cut the lathe, we're going to remove any runout that's present or being pushed out by the wheel bearing to the rotor. So you can see it's finished adjusting. The digital display is showing me I have 9/10 of 1/1000 of an inch of runout measured by the computer, which means we're going to be just about perfect when we cut the rotor. And it gives us a nice set of green lights. Green means go in technicians' world, so you know they see the green lights and they're ready to go. So the last step really is we've got to set our cutting head up to make the cut. What I've done here is I've actually affixed the dial indicator that's going to show the runout, and we're going to watch it magically be removed while the machine is cutting.
Now the cool part is, I mean, we got what, 5, almost 10 thousandths?
Yeah, we got a little over 5, and we're going to actually make that disappear altogether. So like a traditional bench lathe, the setup's kind of the same on the cutting head side. We're going to start with a scratch cut. I work the back arm first because I can hear when it makes contact with the rotor. I don't even have to look at it or stick my head in the wheel well. I just simply listen for the arm to make contact with the back of the rotor like that. And I know I've started my scratch cut there, and then I'll do the same with the front, only this time I can see when it makes contact with the rotor. Now one thing that's really interesting, when you have runout present in a rotor, it actually, now the machine is aligned to the wheel bearing, you can see here we've got a spot where we're getting a good cut with our scratch, but on the opposite side we're not getting much of a cut at all.
Yeah.
That's what the brake pad is actually seeing when the car is driving down the road. So it's a good representation of what runout is. So we get into our starting point, and then I can just simply add my depth of cut. I'm going to take about 5/1000ths per side off. The last step I'm going to do is install a little silencer that deflects the chips down into the tray while the machine's cutting. But it does also help with the dampening because it sits right on top of the cutting tips, which is the source of chatter when you're cutting a metal.
There's a lot of terms out there in the industry. DTV, disc thickness variation, parallelism, lateral runout. There's so much confusion, and quite frankly, these guys are putting it back on there, and at 9,000 miles, the car's coming back. Explain a little bit about that disc thickness variation. It's really not lateral runout.
Yeah, that's a great thing to talk about, John, because there's really a big misunderstanding in the industry, both on the consumer side and on our side, the shop side. If you have lateral runout, it's not actually going to be a drivability issue. So you can have lateral runout present and the car will drive fine.
Sure.
But when you leave the lateral runout unchecked, what happens is it allows the brake pad to brush the rotor while the car's driving down the road, and over about 9,000 miles, that can lead to what's known as thickness variation. And thickness variation is what's commonly mistaken for warpage or pulsation. So we correct that. In fact, you're going to see right now, I've left the dial indicator up on the rotor where we had our 5/1000ths. The spec for this Jeep, by the way, is only 2/1000ths of an inch.
For rotor runout problems?
Exactly.
Wow.
So we're well over, we're more than double the manufacturer's limit for run out. And what you're going to see here is as our cutting blades come through the plane where that dial indicator needle's riding, it's going to magically zero itself out or go to very low. I mean, usually we shoot for 1/1000th or less, and it's just about to happen right now. It's actually great because when we train the machine, we show this to technicians because they don't truly understand.
Yep.
But you can see the needle's now gone down to 1/1000th.
Now, Bruce, that's far from magic. I mean, we're talking about the pads going in and out on that rotor, and that's what you're feeling in the cab when you push on the brakes. We were going in and out, now we're not. So you ran right across there. Now, you're not only cutting that thing true to the rotor, the cool part is we got the bearing, the hub, four-wheel drive, any part of the suspension system is all getting factored into this cut.
That's right. There's a number of different things that can come into play when we're spinning the actual drivetrain of the vehicle, and the machine is tuned to ignore all the noise from the drivetrain and focus strictly on the lateral runout. So it's pretty cool technology that we've developed, and you know, the bottom line is dial indicators never lie. The runout spec that most manufacturers put out is ignored by many shops when they do brake service, and the casualty of that is the customer who has their brakes done, because eventually they're going to develop that pulsation again. And really it can simply be cured with this simple process.
Absolutely. I mean, our industry times money, so I'm not taking this thing off. Four-wheel drives with all the mechanisms, I'm avoiding all that.
Exactly.
And I'm cutting it right, and more importantly, I'm avoiding no comebacks. Well, Bruce, tell me, where's the website? Where can we check it out?
Well, our website is www.procutusa.com. We have a lot of resources available on our website. There's even an OE testimonial page where you can go in and actually see what a lot of the manufacturers are recommending as far as brake service these days, so that you know, you can have that knowledge right there from our website as well. We share all that information.
Hey, well, thanks for bringing it into Motorhead Garage. Now we know how to cut rotors right. But stick around. There's plenty more Motorhead Garage presented by Dustless Blasting right after this break.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting, is brought to you by Piranha, the brand you can trust. Value, durability, reputation. New Arc Tech, bringing science to the world of wheel straightening. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. And by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. And you were looking at horsepower right there, a gnarly LS motor with a nice fabricated intake manifold, twin turbos, and all the potential to put out 4-digit numbers. Now, with that potential to put out 4-digit numbers, the engine is also very usable. You see that functional AC compressor that's been relocated. You see the power steering pump is right placed where it needs to be with a belt on it, so you're not fighting manual steering. And the reason all that stuff works is because of this guy, Brent from Dirty Dingo Motorsports. You guys specialize in not just bracketry, but the bracketry on this engine is all your stuff.
Correct. All these brackets are the same brackets that are on that motor. We have a sanded mini compressor low mount alternator bracket, and a close fit power steering bracket.
You can't underestimate how important it is to have good bracketry, and we'll talk about that when we look at the engine. But you know, if you go cheap on this stuff, if you buy brackets with flimsy materials, you're going to run into the ultimate nightmare, which is alignment problems.
Correct.
Right? So we're going to go over here and take a look at the motor right now. It's not just bracketry, as I mentioned, at Dirty Dingo Motorsports. Tell me about the exhaust manifolds, because they're yours right now.
Correct. These are stuff we build in-house. These are 3/16 304 stainless. They're back purge TIG welded. We mount a 90 degree, which is also has a cast 304 stainless 90 on it, just for indexing the turbo. And we offer a lifetime warranty on them.
Nice. One of the things you can tell right off the bat and looking at the bracketry as it's mounted on the engine, there are no shims, which is a big deal.
Correct.
Tell me, why are there no shims?
We laser align everything. So when we manufacture the bracket, we manufacture it off of a production LS. Everything we make aluminum CNC machined, including all the billet spacers.
Yeah, and that's an important factor to kind of mention, not just for the accuracy of the machining, but also for what it does to the material, right? You're controlling heat, you're not going to have any warpage.
Correct, correct. The end result is a very flat machine surface.
Now, the oiling system on the turbo is also yours, correct?
Correct. We have a billet block that comes off the oil pan with a dual oil feed on it.
Very, very nice. So when people are considering what bracketry they need to use for their application, what are the things that either they ask you on the tech line when they call the company, or what should they be thinking about ahead of time?
First thing is what chassis they're putting the engine into, what mounts will you be using, what oil pan you'll be using, where the steering box is at, just for fitment. We make motor mounts, billet accessory brackets to move stuff around and position the motor correctly in the engine compartment.
Sure. I mean, and I guess, you know, if a guy's popping an LS motor in a 69 Camaro, it's a whole lot different than if he's popping it into a street rod or something like that.
Completely different.
Now, you mentioned motor mounts, and I know that's a part of your business as well. So let's talk motor mounts for a minute. What do you guys offer?
We have 53 different styles of motor mounts, anywhere from street rods to 58 and newer bolt-in stuff, 57 and older weld-in stuff. Most of our mounts we make are adjustable.
And one of the things that we mentioned earlier about the AC bracket, it also is adjustable. You can go ahead and use it for 3 different styles of mount, right?
Correct. Corvette, Camaro, and truck spacing.
And what's neat about it, I think, is kind of the genius idea, is that you're able to do that and use the same pulley. How does that work?
It's just about how we measured it out and how we spaced it. We run it off the back 4-rib on the factory compressor.
Yeah, very cool. So depending on whether that thing's forward or backward, you're still in business, no matter what your application is. Where do people learn more about Dirty Dingo Motorsports?
www.dirtydingo.com.
And if they have any questions, they can hit you up there with any sort of tech questions, and you can steer them in the right direction.
We have a text line, a live chat, and 4 lines call in on.
And one other thing people really need to know about your business is the fact that you're not just selling parts. You guys have a hot rod shop. You're building cars. So
Correct.
you're kind of putting your money where your mouth is here. These are parts and pieces that you've developed because, one, the market needs them, but you've needed them to actually build your projects, right?
That's correct.
Cool. Brent, thanks for coming in. The engine is awesome. I can't wait to see whatever you guys plug this thing into, and I hope there are smoky burnouts in your future.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, and we'll be back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Dustless Blasting right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. Now here at Motorhead Garage, we're all about our tunes, but sometimes you run into a classic Mustang like this where the owner wants to keep it absolutely classic. We don't want to disturb the radio, and it doesn't work. We want tunes. So I'm here with Matt. You got the solution from Out of Sight Audio. Matt, I got to play with it a little bit. It does exactly what it says, Out of Sight Audio. I'm not looking at it, yet this thing's playing killer music. I mean, it's an awesome product. How'd you come up with this idea?
Well, after years of owning classic cars and doing restorations, and I was restoring a 49 Plymouth, and it had a tube radio in it that didn't work, obviously, and I wanted to have some music in the car, and I wanted to play it from my cell phone. So I thought about the fact that you can control this all with Bluetooth now, and there's really no reason to mess with the stock radio. It doesn't make sense to invest the money into it, and I want to keep that classic look. So what we decided to do is we wanted to fix 3 common problems. Is when the radio doesn't work, you can leave the factory radio, and it'll look great and work just as it does. You can leave a factory radio in there that is working, which will work fine until you start streaming Bluetooth to it, then it'll switch off and this will take over, giving you modern sound and modern amplification. And you can also use it in radio delete cars or classic street rods, things like that, where you just don't want any radio exposed at all, going for that clean look.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to see it at all. Right. You got 3 models on the table. I see Mark 1, Mark 2, and Mark 3. What's the difference between the models?
Basically, the only difference is for 2 speakers, 4 speakers, and then 4 speakers with RCA outputs so that you can run a subwoofer, get a little more exotic, run some external amplification to make the system even louder, even better.
Now, what about they hook up on 12 volts? Is that how they work? Are there other systems they work with?
Actually, yeah. These are all in one. They work from 6 to 24 volts, making them perfect for multiple applications. Golf carts, boats, big trucks, things like that. You can use them with British vehicles. They also work with positive and negative earth vehicles.
Wow, yeah, even the super old cars.
Right.
Now, what about the speaker system, though? I mean, this is cool, but now I got to go upgrade with all new speakers. It's going to cost me a fortune.
Actually, you can leave the stock speakers in there. As long as they work, this will work just fine with that setup.
Wow, how about FM? You said, you know, I can use the regular radio. Kind of weird, it just taps into it, but yet I still want to listen to FM once in a while. I mean, everybody in my family wants to Bluetooth. They're fighting over it for their phone and who's going to grab the Bluetooth, but
right.
I want some FM once in a while.
Right, you can set up apps, things such as iHeartRadio. You can listen to local radio stations through that, stream it over Bluetooth directly to the device, and still listen to your favorite FM channels.
Now, Matt, unlike my co-host Brian, he's super tech savvy. I'm not. I just figured out how to Bluetooth stuff. But are there any other ways that I can operate the system?
Sure. You can use a tablet. You can use an MP3 player that's got Bluetooth outputs. Really anything that's got Bluetooth out that will play music will work with this system.
And speaking of Bluetooth, I mean, I'll be in there and I'm trying to listen to FM or whatever. What's the range of this? I mean, can my kids walk around outside and tap to it?
Yeah, well, the beauty of this is this has got about 15 foot of range. So it can be mounted under the dash, in the glove box, behind the radio, under the rear package tray, almost anywhere in the vehicle. So it's got a pretty good range on it.
And that basically brings me to my next question. I mean, is it going to impact the value of my vehicle? I know a lot of these custom vehicles, when they go in there, they want to keep it original. I mean, it's not going to mess with it at all, is it?
No, this is the least intrusive package available. It really only requires switched power, ground, and wiring to the speakers, so you can leave the wiring harness of the vehicle pretty much intact, which will keep its integrity.
The simplest and least intrusive, all right?
Yes.
Cost effective? Is it cost effective?
Sure, sure. The Mark I for 2 speakers starts at $250, and they go up from there. Obviously, in classic car part world, that's pretty cost effective.
Now, one of the things I love, it's made in the USA, so that's awesome. But I'll tell you what, let's put the money where your mouth is, man. Let's see this thing work and let's listen to it.
Sure, so connecting to the unit is as simple as go into your settings, go into Bluetooth,
Like any other device, it's just going to go ahead and recognize it. I mean,
yeah, it's going to go out and look for it. So there's out-of-sight audio
right there. Bam.
Connect to that. Now we're connected, and then you go back out, go to your music.
There you go.
And just start playing music.
Listen to that.
That's all there is to it. And then the volume and everything's controlled directly from the phone.
Wow. Sounds great, works great, hooks up. Hey, what's the website? Where can we find it?
Outofsightaudio.com.
You take a short break. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Dustless Blasting.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting, is brought to you by Stage 8 Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt, now included with each set of Cook's headers. Go to stage8.com. Advanced Fuel Dynamics, Adaptive E85 Performance, Clamp Tight, the clamp making tool. And by K&N Filters, superior airflow, superior performance.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. You know, here at the shop, there's nothing we like more than fun. And there's a new name in fun, especially when that fun has 2 wheels. And the name of that fun is Burromax. I'm here with Ken Francis from Burromax. And Ken, this thing's cool. Tell me about what I'm looking at, really. And it's more than just an electric mini bike. You got a whole program here.
We do. We kind of worked on a mini bike that didn't, wasn't in the marketplace, something that fit in between the base low-end stuff and the ultra high-end that people could use every day. And we put a few features on it, like lithium batteries, so they charge fast, full suspension, so you can actually ride them and not beat your kidneys out of yourself. Also some accessories.
And so if we want to talk, first let's talk, you have a couple different models, right? You have a 250 and this 350R. So what's the difference between the 250 and the 350R?
Well, the 250 was really, it's a base model, a price point for guys who, you walk into a, let's say you go to a Honda, Yamaha dealership type of thing, you're looking at motorcycles, they're $1,500, you're not even sure if the kid wants to ride. So you can buy them that small bike. We have training wheels for them. I mean, you can start them off, teach them how, see if they're interested. And that's the main purpose of that bike. We found so many people using them, so many adults hopping on them for other reasons. We decided to throw the lithium batteries in them, make them charge fast, give them a little more power, and use them in events, use them in neighborhoods. They fit in the car. They weigh 47 pounds. So, I mean, you can take them with you.
So power, man. Not only, I want to know about power for speed, because that's what we're about around here, and also about longevity. If you climb on top of this baby, how long can you ride it for?
We tested them with about a 125-pound rider, and that put you and me out. But we had to do a flat rate, a flat weight when we did it. Flat ground, wide open, about 22 miles.
I am planning on racing John Gardner on one of these things. What can I be expecting for a top speed?
About 17 miles an hour the way they're set up now. If you want more, that's later. We do have accessories for that too.
Disc brake in the back, you get a coilover shock. I mean, honestly, it's a little package, but there's a lot of really nice functional stuff here.
That's correct. We did try to put some features in it, again, that we're missing in the market in this price range, certainly. Hydrographic dips, nice little gauge here, headlight, taillight, brake light. Big stuff when you're out running around in campgrounds or neighborhoods. And
along those lines, nobody can leave anything alone. So there are obviously people that are accessorizing or want to accessorize. What are you offering as far as accessories go?
Well, currently, that is one area we are expanding in. So aside from this fancy paint job, we are doing some cell phone holders. That has a 10 amp hour currently. We also have a 12.5 amp hour. Big battery. It will charge I don't know how many cell phones. So you get
charge them all.
Yep, you get your cell phone holders. We have voltmeters for them. We have some saddle bags, cup holders, bigger motors. We do have some bigger motor kits for them that'll bump them up in the 24-mile-an-hour range, make them pull much bigger hills.
As you intimated before, I'm not a spring chicken. I've never missed a lunch in my life. I'm okay to hop on this thing?
You are.
Okay.
Yeah, they were made for guys like you.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, you can throw it in the car, take it with you. Yeah.
What about guys like John Gardner? Is he okay to hop on this thing?
I think John will work. He's
6'2", I'll tell you what.
6'2" is the edge, but you're in.
No worries.
You're in.
And you're in trouble, Mr. Lowens, because I took one out for a little test drive, and I'll tell you, they ride better than they look. So it's amazing. I mean, the ride is phenomenal. But me and you got to go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, brother. Winner pays for dinner.
That's fine. I will take on the not-so-evil Knievel any day of the week. Let's bring it.
Do I get in that dinner deal?
Well, we got our road course laid out and we're ready to go. Minimum age 14 for these things. You know, it's a good idea to wear his helmet as well, but we're just gonna cook through our course. We're gonna be good and safe. We got Kenny joining us, all three of us, but Brian, it's on for you, me and buddy. This is all about dinner.
All right.
You guys ready on the count of 3?
Yeah.
Ready, set.
Oh, hey, you jerk.
You guys.
I got you all covered. You don't even know it yet.
If we're going to dinner, it's going to be like it's coming in a bag through a drive-through window.
Oh, here comes Kenny. He's bringing up the rear here. Lowens, you're nowhere to be found, brother. What's the deal? He's going on the inside. Wow, but
Get him, Kenny.
I'm just being nice, you know.
No way. Kenny, we got to go around here. I'm cutting this one tight. I'm going with the foot down turn. Oh, I went wide. Lowens is coming on again.
Come on.
Man, we got
Come on.
You're dusting us.
Kenny clearly has an unfair advantage here.
Something about the weight. It's kind of important.
I'm going around the pole. I'm not going to cheat even though I cheated on the start. Woo, I can taste that lobster and steak dinner, brother. Oh man, this thing rides exceptionally smooth. It's incredible. The charge is there. Feels great. I'll tell you what, visit them on the website and check it out for yourself. And if you have a cool product you want to get on Motorhead Garage, just email Jeff at masterstv.com. I'm going to run this thing a few more laps, but be back next week for more Motorhead Garage presented by Dustless Blasting.